Now please, stop me if you've heard this one before. It was August of the groovy year of 1962 when the world first met Peter Parker. He was a classic nerd right down to the glasses and the excellent grades. Bitten by a radioactive spider, Parker sets out to use his powers to become an underpaid regional pro wrestler. You know, the American dream. And after his negligence leaves him guilty of involuntary manslaughter in the death of dear old Uncle Ben, don't at me, he decides that responsibility is super neato. This story, first told in issue number 15 of Amazing Fantasy, was the brainchild of comic book royalty. Written by possible immortal watcher Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, and inked by Steve Ditko, both legendary in their own right, the story of Spider-Man struck a chord with the public. At the time, young people in comics were sidekicks added to give the reader someone to relate to, but Spider-Man broke that mold. Peter Parker was the hero. It seems like a simple idea now, but this was pretty revolutionary at the time, and it helped propel the story of Peter Parker into the mainstream consciousness. Hey Comicstorian fans, once again, I'm Jay from the channel FancyTeeth, and I'm here to satisfy an obsession with evil counterparts that began the very first time I saw Leonard Nimoy in a fake goatee. I'm back again to bring you my list of the top 5 evil versions of Spider-Man. Number 5. Webman. In August of 1977, the world was introduced to Webman, a twin of Spider-Man created by Dr. Doom. Webman was said to have all of Spidey's powers, but none of his goodness. How do we know he was evil? Well, because Dr. Doom said so, of course. Now, this one is super obscure, but also a lot of fun. The story begins with Spider-Man on patrol when his spider sense tells him that there's some sort of trouble going on in a nearby building. He busts through the window and yells, "All right, nobody move," only to find an empty room with a mirror on the wall. Spidey slowly approaches the mirror and remarks that he could use a shave even though he's wearing a mask and he can't see his face. I don't know, guys. I didn't write it. Spidey steps through the mirror to find Dr. Doom, who begins to monologue about his twin machine. I guess he couldn't think of the word clone. Maybe it was like on the tip of his tongue or something. He announces that he's about to create Webman, and Spider-Man just kind of watches while he flicks the switch and goes on about how evil he'll be. Doom informs Webman that it's his job to destroy Spider-Man, to which he agrees for some reason. Webman leaves the building looking for Spidey, who apparently left while all the monologuing was going on. I can't blame him. Lucky for our hero, his evil twin is the opposite of himself in every way. Peter Parker has always been brilliant, his evil twin, not so much. They fight it out and eventually end up back at the same building, where Doom uses the opportunity to make a second evil twin. The weirdest part of this story is how it ends. Spider-Man just runs past his evil twins, quipping that it's not fair to gang up on him, tells Doom that they can't help him anymore, webs him up and says he's going to jail. Nothing is explained. What happens to the clones? Do they fight Spidey on the way back out? Do the clones go to jail? Do they get back out and lead normal lives after that? Are there 2 exact clones of Peter Parker just hanging around New York working menial jobs? Why did they appear in costume complete with alternate color scheme? Why didn't Doom look under the mask of a Spider-Man clone that he created? No answers here. It's all just left up in the air. It's just so weird. I kinda love this one. Number 4. Spider-Man Last Stand. Coming in at number 4 on the list, we have Peter Parker from Earth 312500, or 312500. There's no good way to word that one. This version of Spidey first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 58 as an alternate future for the well-known web crawler of Earth 616. 616. Simple, short, easy to remember, rolls off the tongue. That's how you name a reality. Anyway, the story begins in issue 57 with Happy Birthday Part 1 of 3 when main continuity Parker is caught in the middle of an attack from Dormammu and his minions. Dr. Strange tells all the heroes to stay back and fight off the minions while leaving Dormammu to him. Unfortunately for Spidey, he was the only one who didn't listen. As a result of his attempts to help, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange end up trapped outside of time and space. When they return, they find themselves in a possible future where Dormammu has killed all the heroes. This leads to a neat scene where Parker discusses the concept of Schrodinger's cat with Doctor Strange, and that alone makes this little 3-issue arc worth a read. So when Spider-Man runs off to try and save alternate future Mary Jane, because of course he does, he ends up finding an alternate version of himself. The alternate future Peter is standing over Aunt May's grave in the rain, going on about how this is his last stand. As he talks to Aunt May, he calmly puts on his costume, a leather jacket version of the normal Spidey outfit. You see, this version of Peter killed Kraven the Hunter, and this made drastic, murdery changes to his timeline, creating a darker and much more deadly anti-hero version of Spidey. He steps away from the grave toward the NYPD and refuses to surrender, basically committing suicide by cop. Man, these evil alternate videos are super depressing sometimes. Number 3. Zombie Spider-Man. Zombies are popular, like really popular, and in 2005, Marvel brought in Walking Dead writer and co-creator Robert Kirkman to capitalize on this cultural craze with a 5-issue miniseries called Marvel Zombies. It's set on alternate Earth 2149, where a virus turned the world's heroes into flesh-eating zombies and has since expanded to include well over a dozen sequels, one-shots, and spin-offs. Now, when I did the top 5 evil Hulks video, the problem was that there were too many evil Hulks to choose from, and I ended up leaving out Maestro, much to the disapproval of the comments section. Click like or leave a comment on this web zone if you want to see Evil Hulks Part 2. When it comes to Spidey, it's the opposite problem. Evil Spider-Men are hard to come by. Case in point, Zombie Spidey devoured both Aunt May and Mary Jane Watson, and still somehow kept enough sanity to know that what he did was wrong, and eventually turned back into a hero. In any case, he did some truly horrible things, and that puts him on the list. On a related note, Marvel Zombies is disturbing, but in a good way, and it's one of my must-reads. Number 2. The Spider. This version of Peter Parker hailed from Earth 15. A mass-murdering sociopath who merged with a Carnage symbiote, this version of Spidey has all the violent tendencies of zombie Spider-Man with none of the regret. And also, to be fair, less flesh-eating. The Exiles were a team assembled from different alternate realities, and in 2002's Exiles number 12, the Spider was brought in to replace Daredevil. This Parker had a Deadpool-style personality, which was a tad redundant as the team featured a version of Deadpool at the time. He had the same powers as the 616 version of Spidey, but with the added benefit of Carnage. This, of course, gave him a weakness when it came to very loud noises and extreme temperatures. Said to have been sentenced to 67 life sentences in his home reality, there was really very little to redeem this version of Parker. Zombie Spider-Man killed way more people, like way more, but at least he did feel regret. The Spider may have killed less people, but he was far more evil. Number 1. Patton Parnell. I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that many of you expected me to say Superior Spider-Man. Well, Dr. Otto Octavius was a bad guy, but after taking over Peter's body, Spidey's memories drove him to become a hero. If there were a list of my favorite alternate versions of Spider-Man, then Superior Spider-Man would fit right in. But this is not that, and he wasn't evil, at least not as Spider-Man. Our real number 1 may not have the universe-wide body count of Zombie Spider-Man, but the sheer horror factor in this one is astounding. In 2014's Edge of the Spider-Verse, we saw a lot of alternate versions of Spider-Man, but none of them haunted my dreams in quite the same way as Parnell of Earth 51412. Parnell was a creepy stalker bitten by a spider while at AltCorp Industries, but he didn't become anyone's friendly neighborhood anything. Instead, he began to web up people and eat them in the same way that spiders catch and eat insects. He was killed by Moreland, but not until after he'd bitten Sarah Jane, his universe's MJ, and the next day, thousands of baby spiders started coming out of the wound on her neck. And so there we are. We've combined the indiscriminate people-eating of zombie Spider-Man with the cold, emotionless attitude toward murder of the spider, and then fit it all into a literal monster that procreates by biting people, causing the baby spider monsters to sprout from the victim's flesh. And that little shop of horrors is why Patton Parnell takes the #1 spot. Okay, guys. Whew, this Evil Alternates video has really truly creeped me out. I did not want to revisit that particular part of Edge of the Spider-Verse. Truth be told, I'm not fond of spiders, and so I hope you guys appreciate the effort. Jump down to the comments section and let me know which alternate Spider-Man I should have included. You guys always come up with some great additions to the list, and I'm genuinely curious to see what you come up with this time. Also, let me know which hero you want me to focus on next time. Both Deadpool and Wonder Woman have already been suggested and are coming up in future episodes. Give this video a like and share it with a Spider-Man fan, and I'll see you guys back here again in just 2 short weeks. Until then, jump over to my channel. I've recently uploaded videos on both Superman and Star Trek, so go watch them for exactly 4,000 hours. I'm Jay Parks from FancyTeeth, and I'll see you guys next time.